caught surprised by the way we looked. The years had changed us too. We smiled and both embraced like old friends often do.
Hello again. Welcome to another show of Gung Ho. I think most of you know this mug, but I'm Joseph Giannini, ex-Marine. Actually not, you're always a Marine. Criminal defense lawyer, retired. And the topic today is police misconduct and corruption. I have a special guest with me, Elizabeth Podlach. My friend found her because we were doing some research on police misconduct. And turns out that she was a victim. She fought back. We went to see her, and now she's here, and she's also a very accomplished artist. And we're at the point where you're on this road, and this female officer walks up to you.
Ashley Jones.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So she wanted me to get out of the vehicle, and because I asked her why she was giving me the ticket, which she later said was just there was a local law against using any swear words, so she was going to give me that ticket. But she asked me to get out of the vehicle, and it was very dark, and I did not want to be alone with this woman outside of my vehicle. I knew that. So I said to her, listen, my boyfriend is right up at the train station. Can we do this there? So she took her paperwork and my license and my registration and went back to her vehicle.
Your vehicle was?
In front of hers.
Yeah, but you were parked and the
ignition... I pulled over and turned off the ignition like
right.
You do when a police officer stops, but I did not want to get outside the vehicle. So I pulled out and I drove very slowly for about a quarter of a mile, literally, hardly at all. And I realized there was a fork in the road, and I realized I didn't know which way I was supposed to go. So I thought, okay, and I pulled over again to the side of the road, and I turned off the car.
Where was Ashley Jones now when you pulled away?
I didn't look. All I know is I was a quarter of a mile ahead of where she had stopped me, and I was again off the road with my engine off, with my headlights on, but my engine off. And just about as soon as I had done that, another vehicle drove in my lane towards me at extremely high speed. Not in the other lane, not in the lane they're supposed to drive in, but in my lane. Luckily, I had pulled off. They stopped facing my car very close, like maybe where the rug is, they stopped. They opened the doors of their car, and they left them open the entire time.
You're talking about a police vehicle?
Yeah, a police vehicle.
Did they approach you with lights flashing?
Oh, everything. Sirens, lights, high speed. And they stopped about just there.
You're talking like 5-6 feet away from the front of your car.
Yeah, and if I had not pulled off, they would have, I don't know. And they opened up the doors stayed open because they just, it was like Starsky and Hutch. Like they opened the doors and they jumped out. And the man on this side got in shooting stance. Like literally, he got out of the car and he was like this, and he had the gun, and it was like he was ready to shoot me, and it was pointed at the center of my forehead. So the back of my skull would have been blown off.
You're still in your car?
Yeah, I haven't moved.
Where are your hands?
I'm just, they drive up and I just go like this, right? And they're shouting, get out of the car, but I'm not lowering my hands to open the door. That would mean going like this. This kid with the gun is maybe 20. He looks like he's 20. I'm thinking, how much practice has he had with that firearm? This is Southampton Village. Even if I keep my hands up, my chances of surviving are low, right? If I lower, even just with a misfire,
That happens quite often.
You look at the best trained police, NYPD, and you look at their stats on misfire, it's not a healthy, right? And this kid is 22
They
at
shoot one
the
another
most.
too.
And their own legs, yes, I know. But so I'm like this, and I'm thinking, that's it. I've never seen a gun, and it's pointed at me such that I see the hole. I mean, it's a complete vertical,
You're looking
directly.
at the barrel.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any profile, and I'm an artist. I know angles. There's no profile. This is right at the center of my head. So all he has to do is like this, and I am done. This is not injury. It's the back of my skull gets blown off. So I just figure I'm done. I mean, and I say that because there's something that happens to your body. Again, back to that 1 year of nursing, where you automatically have chemical reaction to a very likely death by the hand of another. Like there's a certain chemical reaction that everyone has if the circumstance is exactly so. So if you really feel like your life will be taken, adrenaline, all kinds of different things happen, which is how like 2 weeks later you get PTSD, which is really fun. But anyway, so I'm like this. And they're like, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car. And I'm just like this. And then finally the other officer, while the guy's still pointing the gun at me, opens my door and pulls me out of the car. And I'm still just like this. I have my phone in this hand. It's a little phone. You can't even see. It's just one of those flip phones.
The other officer was an older officer.
Yes. And
What was the younger officer doing when he pulled you out of the car, the older
he
officer?
was still pointing the gun.
All right, continue, go ahead.
Right, and then he pulls me out of the car, and he pulls me over sort of to the middle of the other lane of the road. It's really felt like a dirt road, so I may have really gone down the wrong way. But it's like dirt, and there's a lot of leaves and bushes and everything, and the three of them are surrounding me, and I'm still like this. And they say, drop the phone, drop the phone, drop the phone. I'm like, can I just call my boyfriend, please? And I'm crying. Drop the phone, drop the phone, drop the phone. So I drop the phone. It just falls onto and then they're still surrounding me, and then they put my hands down and handcuff me somehow. They handcuffed me, so.
Well, they was it the older officer that grabbed your hands and put it down, or it was a male officer, right?
Probably. I mean, Ashley Jones is there, so it's those two. So what she had done was she had pulled out. She had made the radio call, and then she followed me because her car was behind mine. Their car was facing mine, and her car was behind mine when the three of them were surrounding me.
When the older officer took you out, you said there were three officers. One of them was Ashley Jones?
Yes,
All
and
right.
one of them was the older officer, and one of them was the younger one who had been pointing the gun.
And the older officer,
Probably was the one who put me in handcuffs.
and I read your description in the complaint. It looks like they handcuffed you to the rear,
Rear of?
like that.
Yes, they
Rear.
did.
So
Yeah.
all right, so you're handcuffed to the rear, then what happens?
And my phone is on the ground, and then he says, come with me, the older officer, and he puts me in the back of his patrol car, and he says, listen, if you do everything she says, as if she's in charge, you'll probably, be fine. You'll probably just be able to leave, right? So just do everything she says. And they have my license and registration already, and I said, what about my car? Can I just please call my boyfriend? I keep saying this. And I said, what about my car? And he said, oh, you'll probably get your car. I said, you could just call him and tell him to get the car and give him my keys. And as far as I know, my car's on the side of the road and this God knows where. And he says, oh, no problem, be no problem, no problem. And then next thing I know, the doors close and we take off, and my car is there, and, you know.
You're in the car with 2 police officers.
I think probably what happened was then so the older man had been driving when they pulled up, so he probably again drove, and the younger officer probably got back in the passenger seat. Ashley Jones drove her own car, and we all went to the police station.
Have you ever been to the Southampton? No, of course not.
No.
You went to the Southampton Village Police Station.
Yes, yes. And we were in the basement. You know, they went in probably that door. I don't remember going downstairs, so I think they had a door that leads to the basement where they do the processing. I'm sure they got a lot of overtime.
Did they actually book you?
Oh, yeah, they spent an hour or two doing paperwork.
And then took your fingerprints
I believe so.
and photographs? Call them mugshots.
I know. I don't remember that part. All I remember is being in handcuffs and sitting on this short metal stool. I was to sit there. Oh, and then I said to him, I thought you said that I would get my car, or that you would call when we were, at some point I said to the older officer, he said, well, it's up to Ashley or whatever, or, And he said, I guess not, but answer all her questions, do everything she wants now, and then you probably won't go to jail or something, right? So.
But you're still handcuffed to the rear?
Yeah. This is, I think in the car, as soon as we got there, I said to him, you said that I would, anyway. He obviously had been lying the whole time, but whatever. This idea of do whatever Ashley wants. It almost felt like a game. They had all 3 of them. I don't know, some thrill. So anyway, I go in there, and I'm told to sit on that stool. And I didn't do everything Ashley said because he advised. I didn't have a choice. What was I going to do? The thing about this is, who are you going to call? You can't call the police. You can't do anything. You're literally helpless.
Did you ask to make a call to her?
Yeah. But first, they had me sit on the stool, and I said, I need to call someone. But first, we need to do this paperwork, right? So there must have been like 20 pages, but I don't know. She asked me every question in the book.
You're talking about Ashley Jones?
Yes, then she's the one who, I guess, got the arrest or whatever. So she asked me a million questions, like your dietary things. Are you this? Are you that? Just all the legal forms.
Did they ask you whether or not you drank any alcohol or?
No.
Nothing?
No.
So alcohol had nothing to do with this?
No, and I don't drink. So, and clearly I had no alcohol.
No drugs, nothing?
No. I've never done drugs. That was not the issue. And that was apparent. They didn't ask me any of that.
And no prior arrests?
No, nothing. And that never came up. That was not even something.
So how long did Ashley question you?
It was a long time. It was a lot of questions. It was a very, you could tell it was a form, because she had to ask me, do you need to go to the hospital? Things like that. And
but you're handcuffed to the rear during this whole time?
No, we are out of the car. We're in the basement. I'm still handcuffed.
That's what I mean.
But now to the rear of myself.
You're in there.
Yes.
You're in their headquarters
on the
handcuffed.
stool.
Like
with only them. There's nobody else there. It's not like, there's a secretary or some no, just the 3 of them.
They think you're the Terminator. They're afraid of you.
Yeah, well, or they have a thing they do. Maybe this is something they do for jollies. I have no idea, but it's just the 3 of them all. And then the older guy starts asking me, he says, I see that do you have a problem with authority? This is after the form letters, which again are just about your medical something. And I said, why do you say that? And he said, you have a toll booth violation. I had knocked over a cone.
You gotta be kidding.
No, that was the only thing that was there. You have a toll. I said, that's from the Queens, you're talking about from I think it was the Queens Tunnel or the Ed Koch Bridge. Like sometimes they change the lanes. when they merged them or something, and I had knocked over a cone, and actually they really don't like that. The Port Authority guy had taken my license and gave me a ticket or something, and he said,
Did they give you a license a ticket through the mail, or they stop you?
They stopped me when I knocked the cone over, and they took my license, and then they gave me a ticket that I had to mail in, which I did.
Boy, that's really bizarre behavior.
I said, I said that's a
All right.
that's a matter of knocking over a cone. That has nothing to do with authority. But he was asking me questions, and before that I had said to them, I'm sorry about the order that I did. I had already said to them, I need to call my lawyer, who's my boyfriend, who was the guy I was supposed to get at the train station. Meanwhile, my boyfriend, I don't know how he did this, maybe because I mentioned the cop, but he realized where I was.
Because he figured out you're having some kind of interaction with village cops.
Right.
So being a lawyer, where would you go? You
Right.
go to the village police station.
So he's already upstairs, and he told me later I had a very hard time getting inside the building. He banged and banged for a long time, and he, probably, had to, I don't know, maybe he used his lawyer. I don't know.
Did he tell them that he is
Yes,
a lawyer?
yes, obviously, and even just to get in, he may have had to say that. And then they said upstairs that he was not allowed to see me downstairs, and then when I was downstairs, I asked to have him come downstairs, and they said, you're not allowed.
So they denied you the right to counsel.
Right, and they said we're only doing a pro forma thing, but then this man also asked me about, and I tried to get, it was just so poorly done, but at the same time terrifying.
Gotta say, the question is this America? You have a lawyer there who wants to see you, you're asking for a lawyer, and then denying you the right to counsel, and it's...
With no fear at all. And I understand it, because they never get in trouble, so it was just the three of them. They were all, enjoying this. I just find there was no oh, we better follow the law. I mean, they didn't,
They believe that they'll never be held accountable.
Well, it's because they rarely are, in my experience. Yeah. But anyway, they let me talk to Phil on the phone eventually, on their phone. My phone is still not returned to me, but they let me use their table phone.
To call him.
Upstairs. He kept calling down, and finally they let me talk to him. And I said they pointed a gun at me. I was crying to him. I was like...
When did you start crying?
When I was talking to him. I said they pointed a gun at me. They pointed a gun at me, and just, he was talking, and he said, it was really hard to get inside the building. They won't let me see you. We were just sort of... And later he told me that before he knocked on the door, he sent a text to his brother to say, this is where I am, just because...
Yes, I understand.
His brother's a lawyer also. So then I think there were more questions after that. And then they put me in a cell. And I looked at the man and I said, again, you said that you wouldn't, not that I ever expected them to keep their word, but I said, you said I would be able to go. And he's like, whatever.
Could you describe the cell for?
Yeah, but I have to bring this up too, that Ashley walked me to the cell. And I was crying at that point, the idea of being enclosed in this building, And she said, you should have waited for me. All right, so then she puts me in the cell and closes it, and it's basically a concrete box. There's no other cell, there's just the one, right? So it's not like some other prisoner or anything. And there's a concrete slab in the back, and then there's a sort of, I think the water might have worked, I don't remember. And then there's a smashed video camera. It's totally smashed, but it's hanging there, like in pieces, kind of.
There's just one.
And, no one's gonna witness it, right? Just like, and then also I know that no one else is in the building. There's Phil, who was upstairs, who's probably been, asked to leave at this point. The cops leave. I guess. I don't know.
So you thought you were by yourself.
Well, I was at least, there was no allies and no one outside of those three and no one on my side for sure. And what was going to happen, I don't know. But then also I had to get through to the morning. Luckily by then, this story starts in Southampton 11:45. By then it's at least 6 in the morning. So I only have to wait till 10. But even so, and apparently they tell me, I said, I'm really hungry and I do have an autoimmune disease where I need to eat, like at least we still hadn't had our dinner and I didn't eat all day waiting for the, chef thing. And they said, oh, don't worry, you'll get food. Of course not. But anyway, and then right before court, you'll go to court the next day, the matron will give you breakfast, right? So there's this matron there, which is just this woman who every so often walks by, walks in or past you and says, and I, I was sort of just like, please, I really need food, You shouldn't have done anything wrong then if you, just like that kind of person, right? And I spent the entire 4 hours doing sit-ups and push-ups on the concrete because I could not relax. So that was all I could do to get. So I would do push-ups, and then I would lie down on the concrete block.
On this concrete slab, was there a mattress or a blanket?
No.
Pillow?
No, nothing. Just the concrete slab. And then I would get up and I would do sit-ups. And after all of this, my back was just totally, because, it's the spine where you're doing the sit-ups.
Did you intermittently or continue crying while you were down there?
I think you cry when someone shows empathy. I don't think you cry when you're scared, because it was the moment I talked to Phil but I think when I was just by myself, I think I was too focused on I think I was just too freaked to cry. So
the way that you were treated is like you were in a totalitarian state, communist state, or fascist state. What they did to you. This is not what America's about. Well, it's not what
it should be about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what bothered me was that it was almost like, I know it's stupid, but there was a part of me that was thinking like, if only I don't know, if only he had gotten off at Hampton Bays, if only the train hadn't been late, if only I hadn't asked her for directions. That was the big thing. If only I hadn't asked her for directions. And I had spent a lot of my life asking for directions. It's something I did a lot. So I was like, never, ever again will I ask the police for directions.
Men don't
Never.
like to ask for directions. I don't know why. Women do all the time.
But now I have a cell phone, I don't have to. But at the time, I was surprised. But that was my biggest regret. I was like, and I vowed never again will I ask the police for directions
I want you
or
to tell,
help.
did there come a time, it must have been, they took you to court. And where was the court?
So by the time I had done these, and then the lady threw in a Mac thing, for something from McDonald's for breakfast. And then, so I'd been doing these push-ups and these sit-ups, and I don't know, I probably just had a t-shirt on and whatever. So my hair is literally just like, I'm not looking my best, right? And then they put the handcuffs back on.
Do you remember to the front or to the rear?
I don't remember.
But-
And they put the handcuffs back on because, you know.
To go see the judge.
Yeah, because, I mean, I don't know what I was accused of or what I did wrong, but oh boy, right? So I have the handcuffs on, and my hair is literally, I can't like go like this, right? So it's just hanging in front of my face. And this young, again, very young officer's walking me up the stairs. She has red hair. And I saw her later, and she threatened me. It was kind of weird. But anyway, at this moment, she's walking me up the stairs, and I said, I need to call my lawyer. I'm allowed to have a lawyer. She said, no, you don't need a lawyer for this part. You don't get to have a lawyer for this part. You're not allowed to have a lawyer for this part. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And I walk in, and I look in the courtroom, and there's Phil. Somehow he
All right,
found out. Okay.
We're about to end another session. I want to keep going. Again, I want to say, or maybe that what happened to you happens too often to other people, and you never hear about it. You're one of the few that fights
Oh yeah,
back.
very few.
And that's what makes your story even more interesting. You know,
Yeah,
the abuse that you suffered is not uncommon, but it's very unlikely that someone will fight back after this has happened, because being arrested and going before the judge is just the beginning.
Yes.
All right.